Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. Tonight I'm going to be doing a review of a film from Norway, Norwegian language English subs, released in the year 2011, directed by Magnus Martins, and this film is called Jackpot. And the story to Jackpot is as follows. At a plastic Christmas tree factory in Norway, three dangerous ex-cons and their supervisor win 1.7 million kroner on the soccer pools. As trust and friendship quickly dissolve, guns are loaded, knives are sharpened, and the division of the money begins. In the border country between Norway and Sweden, we meet a bunch of scruffy guys, Oscar, Thor, Billy, and Tresco, who all share a criminal past. By day, they make plastic Christmas trees. By night, they are gamblers. Like most people, they never win anything until now. This is the story of the time that they actually won. 1,739,361 Norwegian kroner to be exact. A number that proves impossible to divide into four equal parts, and that is when the fun begins. So at the start of the movie, we get police that are raiding a sex shop, and in this sex shop, there is a man hiding underneath a dead prostitute with a loaded shotgun. His name is Oscar. So Oscar is arrested, he is thrown into interrogation, and this is where the story is being told through flashbacks. So we go right back to the start, and we realize that Oscar is a supervisor in a factory that make plastic Christmas trees. Now this factory existing in order to give ex-convicts the second go at life and get them a job, and so they can regroup into society. So Oscar is supervising three dangerous ex-criminals, Thor, Billy, and Tresco. Prison did nothing to deter them from a life in crime, and they have some sort of scheme. So the scheme is gambling. So what they're going to do, they convince Oscar to gamble with them. So by day they're making Christmas trees, and at night they're gambling on soccer pools. Now the jackpot for the soccer pool is 1.7 million kroner. Now the idea is that when they win the jackpot, if they win the jackpot, they're going to split it evenly between the four of them. But they never really expect to win. It's like when you go into a lotto store, you scratch a ticket, you never really expect to win, but you have some sort of fantasy plan that if you should, happen to win. So this is the sort of approach that these criminals are taking. But one day they actually win the jackpot. Now this is where complications arise, because they forget about their plan of dividing it evenly amongst each other. Greed takes over and they want it all for themselves. So what happens from this point on is a lot of double crossing and a lot of bloody mayhem. So who's left at the end standing with the cash? That's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on the film. Take Quentin Tarantino making love to Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie gets pregnant and out pops Jackpot. Now I don't know if Magnus Martins is a fan of these two directors, but there is a lot of inspiration in these two directors that is apparent in this film. So I think it's a little bit, it's a little bit too obvious to be a coincidence. And I wouldn't be surprised if Magnus Martins is a fan of these two. Now the reason I say is because the film has a very similar style to Quentin Tarantino. You've got the very stylized, colorful visuals. It's kind of like in a different realm, but it stays in the realms of reality, but it's kind of like from a different dimension. The characters are exaggerated to the point where you're watching a light-hearted film. And then you've got the shocking violence, which this film actually does have, that is very reminiscent of Quentin Tarantino violence. Very glorified, very stylized. It's more a fact of violence being cool rather than a violence being cruel. So it's that type of film where on one hand you've got a shocking act of violence, but on the other hand you've got a very light-hearted approach to it. So it combines together to make a very uncomfortable sort of response from the viewer. On one hand, you find it funny, but on the other hand, it's shocking. So you feel guilty for feeling, a little bit of joyous to the thing that you've actually seen. So on one hand, you're feeling like you should laugh. On the other hand, you're feeling that you shouldn't. And that's the overall feel that the whole film has, and it puts you in that very, very tricky and very, very awkward situation where, I shouldn't be laughing at this thing. I'm going to be looked at as a psycho. If anyone else is watching it with me, I'm laughing at these things that are happening on the screen that anyone else would think, my God, what is this psycho laughing at? But I can't help myself because of the humor. I've got a very sick, twisted sort of sense of humor, and that's the humor that Quentin Tarantino has, and that's the humor that Magnus Martins has in this film. And it's very apparent throughout the entire movie. Straight from the start, I was laughing at things that I probably shouldn't have been laughing at. So it's that kind of movie. If you've got friends that judge you because of your humor, then I wouldn't watch Jackpot with them, because it is very reminiscent of a Quentin Tarantino film. And then on the other hand, you've got Guy Ritchie. And now I say this Guy Ritchie thing because of the fact the movie snowballs like a Guy Ritchie film. It's very reminiscent to Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Now, yes, it's a completely different story, but you've got a situation that it's a set piece from the start, but things just snowball. It could have been so simple, but the the selfish doings of these characters contribute to something that has just spiraled into a massive snowball that is uncontrollable and that combines, it basically involves everyone. And as the movie progresses, more and more people are coming into the story, and the body count is getting higher and higher and higher. And it's all down to the fact that these people thought they could get a hold of a situation that probably wasn't controllable in the first place. So you've got the characterization of Quentin Tarantino, the stylized violence, and then the story, the pacing of a Guy Ritchie film. Combine them all together, put a Norwegian flavour on it, and that is exactly what you get. Very, very funny film. Joe Nesbo he actually made the story for the film. Now, Joe Nesbo is an author. He wrote the novel that Headhunters was based off. Now, a lot of people compare this to Headhunters. I think that is an unfair comparison. Yes, Joe Nesbo was involved in both films, but this is a much more light-hearted film than Headhunters. But Headhunters still had a wicked sense of humour, but this one is exaggerated to the point where it is a straight-out black comedy. And for a black comedy, it works very, 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 very well. Now, the violence, as I said, shocking, but at no stage does that shocking value disturb you because of the combating sort of feeling of a light-hearted film. And it's just a very awkward response from you. You can enjoy it as a single viewer, but if you're watching it with friends, you'll probably get looked at strangely because, as I said, there are funny things in the film that really aren't funny to a normal sort of person. So if that's the type of film that you like, this is the type of film that you need to pick up. The acting, very good. As I said, very exaggerated. Everyone seems to be having a lot of fun with it. The humour is very witty. A lot of people didn't find it very funny, but it has a very Scandinavian flavour. I really like Scandinavian humour, so that's why I found it very funny. I don't usually laugh out loud a lot during a film, but I found myself laughing out loud on more than one occasion. That is just how funny I actually felt the film was. Now, my biggest criticism of the film is the fact that it only goes for 82 minutes, and I felt that it kind of would have helped another problem that the film has. Now, the problem the film has is the fact that the characters aren't gone into enough, or well, as much as they could have. And I felt that if Magnus Martins put more attention to the characters, it would have defeated the problem of having a very short runtime. 82 minutes for this film was not enough as far as I'm concerned, because when it ended, I wanted a whole heap more. And that was just really, really disappointing because of the fact that 82 minutes, I was in heaven as far as cinema is concerned. I felt that this is one of the most enjoyable films that you will come across. It is masterfully made, but as I said, it kind of feels like Magnus Martins didn't really know. He was having so much fun that he forgot to really, have a budget constraint, a time constraint on his film. So he thought, I have to end it right now. It's going to disappoint a lot of people, but that's what I have to do. So that was my biggest criticism of it. It's just too short. But for that period, 82 minutes, it is straight out bish bash, a hell of a lot of fun. It goes at a frenetic breakneck speed. People with ADHD, attention deficit disorder, will not find themselves bored for one moment. The flashback scenes in the film I thought worked very well. I'm very skeptical as far as flashbacks are concerned because I feel it can ruin the pacing of the movie. But when the flashbacks happen, there is enough sort of quality, and there's enough quality of the actual flashback moments. It doesn't, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, flashbacks, it leaves the flashback for a long time. So when it goes back to the present day, you don't feel that it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and ruining the continuity. I felt that the level of a back and forth was done really well. So it gives you enough time to really get yourself involved in the story. Whereas in films like Dream Home that I reviewed a long time ago, I felt that the stop-start approach with the flashbacks really hurt it. Whereas this movie, I thought it was timed perfectly. So all in all, it does have its flaws, but fortunately for me, I got a hell of a lot of enjoyment out of it. It is a very entertaining film. I'm giving it 4 stars. 4 stars because it's entertaining rather than a film that you experience. But as far as films like this, I feel that this is the highest rating that it can get. So if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, you're a fan of Guy Ritchie, and you want something with a Norwegian flavour, this is definitely a film to check out. I feel that Norway are leading the way as far as cinema is concerned. I feel that they've taken over the French because consistently Norway make films like this that are just so impressive and that are just absolutely compulsory for any foreign film fan in their collection. So for the Norwegian black comedy Jackpot, I am giving this one 4 stars. Alright guys, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies and I'll see you.